Hello, welcome to Toffee TV. It is Daily Live Extra. Sean Dyche has just done his press conference ahead of Saturday's trip to Old Trafford. Me and Jack discussing this one. Didn't really learn much, did we? If we're honest.
No, I mean, factors outside of our control demanded that the audio was played a little bit lower because apparently Sean Dyche has a little bit of a unique loud voice. Apparently, the only things really picked up on were something about that lad who does the impressions. Forget his name. The one who spray paints his hair red to, portray a character who has no hair.
Yeah.
And he also referenced that little lad who went as Sean Dyche for World Book Day, which I thought was quite cool, to be fair.
That's exactly what you want to be learning from press conferences. That tells you the level of questioning from some people who go to these press conferences. That always make me laugh. But there was some good questions. Dyche Gay looks unlikely, but might be available. So unlikely means at the most he'll probably be on the bench. So that means pretty much. I think the only change I think we'll see this weekend might be at right back. I think he might bring Seamus Coleman back this weekend and looked at. He mightn't. Don't get me wrong. He mightn't. But
it's also the only position on the pitch where we have options who are in similar contention with each other. So it's always sort of the best bet for. We might see a bit of change there, but Gay will be a miss if we don't have him. I think him and Onana at the moment is probably our most informed midfield partnership as well. Away from home, I would quite like to have him on the pitch to cover that ground, but we'll just have to make do, won't we?
Yeah, I mean, I said this last week about the Dyche Gay. I mean, it is a blow not having him around the squad to come on. Last week we could have done with him coming on. Just to shore up that midfield a little bit as we were going towards the game. And it sometimes happens the other way when he'll go off and you'll bring on more of an attacker. But I think we could have done with him coming on. And same with Old Trafford. I think if he'd been available, I think he might have actually dropped Onana again if we'd had him available to us. Not that would have been the best thing to do in the world, because I don't think Man United are amazing. And sometimes you can look at these games with a little bit too much fear instead of looking at them thinking, we could get something out of this, which I imagine some like Fulham did a couple of weeks ago when they went there and got the win. I don't think they were thinking, we've got a retreat. I think they were thinking we can get something out of this. So it's going to be the same old. And then, as was mentioned, we haven't got a game for 3 weeks. Bournemouth is the next game after this. And he's going to take the players away for a little bit of time in Europe for a little bit of a training thing, which will probably be somewhere warm, I imagine, probably maybe south of France or somewhere like that, and makes sense, doesn't it, to get away whilst there's no games. Yeah,
no problem with that. I think it'll do them good as well, because I do look at that group at the moment and they do seem like they're struggling. There's a few players, Dom's lack of goals mentioned every week. You see that on his face. The team haven't won a Premier League game in God knows how long. They could maybe just do that little change of scenery just to give them that little refresher. It's not going to be a holiday. Obviously, Dyche will be working them hard as well, but that warm weather training, and it can just give you that little boost, and that little change of scenery to maybe carry yourself a bit more positively, come back in a fresher mood and a fresher mindset, and hopefully we'll be going on this break on the back of a win. But on the chance that we're not, maybe that can give us that sort of spark to hopefully reignite our season.
No, he did make me laugh when he was asked whether it was like, rest and recuperation. He was like, they don't need the rest. I was thinking, do you even watch us? Because a lot of those players looked like they needed the rest after 75 minutes last week, and that's why we've ended up conceding 2 late goals. So I'm sure it'll be a mix. I think Sam Allardyce took the players away, if I remember, not long after he came in the second half of the season. I think he went to Dubai, or maybe somewhere around there. And I know we've been to Qatar before, and I think there was a bit of a mix of bonding and training. I know David Moyes took them away to New York once, and it was just a straight piss up, and it was like, is a little reward for everything you've done. but it'll be, I imagine it'll be, if they go away for a week or something, it'll be probably a mix of everything. So, and just freshen things up with that, with what, with that last part of the season, which is going to be so integral. And he did mention as well, he's hoping, he didn't confirm it, but he was hoping to have Dan Juma back after the break as well. So that's, I suppose, the break has come at the right time, I think, because he mentioned it again, all those games in December, and then we've had situations where we've gone, I think we've gone twice, we've gone 10 days without a game, and now we're going to be going 3 weeks without a game, and you just think how hectic December is. It's crazy the way the fixtures are, but it's probably the right time for that little break. Get everyone back to the levels, and get the injured players back, Garner, Danjuma, and just get everyone fresh.
Yeah, for such a small squad like ours as well, and you've got Onana and Takora, you both aren't long back from injuries as well. Danjuma hopefully going to be back after the break, and obviously Garner Gay as well. Danjuma is someone who, we've spent a lot of time talking about, it doesn't really fit this squad. Yeah. Neither of our wingers are performing at the moment. If this lad has any quality, anything to give this team, we need him available. Yeah. Because the options are so few and far between right now. Just having an available player who might be able to perform is such a big boost to this team. It's such a small squad. And you're right, we have been through such a busy period. We've not had a break all season, really, have we? Even our winter break was cut into by the replay with Palace. So, this squad's been stretched as well. And, like I say, I'm sure he will be working them very hard wherever he takes them, but it might not be to the same hectic schedule as what we've been working with, because we're having to play matches every 4 days. Yeah. So I think it'll do them a lot of good as well. It's obviously not the only thing this team needs. That on itself isn't going to turn this team around without some other changes along the way, but it's a piece of the puzzle, isn't it? And it's something we've desperately needed for a while.
Yeah, and it's not just the physical side of it, it's the mental side. It's being to switch off for a couple of weeks and not have to take in loads of information, which is what they have to do obviously during the week for games. It's just that switching off, and of course there is an international break as part of that, so it's not everyone who's going to, Nana, possibly Branthwaite, obviously Pickford will go away. I'm trying to think of any others. Would Seamus go with the Irish squad? Maybe he's not obviously not retired, and they might want him there because they've got an interim coach, haven't they, John O'Shea, so they might want him there. So there is that international break. This Ghana game might go. I don't know whether Senegal have got games. They probably have. Probably got World Cup qualifiers or something. But for most of the players, because we don't have a luxurious squad of international players, they will be getting that break. So. But as I said, we didn't really learn anything about Saturday. We know it's going to be a difficult game. We know Manchester United, 2 wins since the Premier League started. And the bad thing was, just before the Premier League started, Everton would go to Old Trafford regularly and beat them. It wasn't a big deal for us at all. But as soon as the Premier League came in, obviously we won the first Premier League game there 3-0. And then we didn't win again till Brian Oviedo stuck that one in 10 years ago, just over 10 years ago.
It's almost like that's when it all started going wrong. That period.
The Premier League, yeah.
Yeah, this league we all know now, the only league.
The one we helped
our entire
helped architect.
Yeah, the league we were the driving force behind. It's almost like that was the turning point for Everton being, a giant of European football to this.
Yeah. Almost. No, it's always a difficult game. Obviously, it's more. I think we build it up. I think we've always built it up, and Manchester United of late have had that aura taken away from them, and teams do go there, and not regularly, but teams do go there and beat them now. I mean, I remember anyone beating Man United at Old Trafford was seen as just a huge. I mean, the equivalent now would be anyone going to Anfield basically and beating them. But
that's why it was such a shock when we went there and won. And they lost a lot of home games that year under Moyes, and for a lot of teams, that was our first win at Old Trafford in however many years as well. And that was the big scalp, wasn't it? Because that was when Man United were considered one of the best teams in the world, one of the biggest teams in the world, and that was massive. And certain teams will still go there and play the badge, not the team. Everton are one of those teams. Fulham went there the other week and played the team on the pitch and had a lot of success.
Yeah, they did, and that's it. That's what you've got to do, and you've got to, like he said, to go there, you've got to play well if you want to win, and you've got to obviously get your shape right. We went there last year, and you know what? I know we started with Ella Sims, but we did have a couple of chances, but last year it was just a stupid straight ball over the top that kept on catching Ben Godfrey out, and that's basically in. They battered us, they wore us down, but we did have a couple of opportunities that if maybe it had been someone different. I mean, the fact that we had to start Ella Sims there last season up front does show you how sure we were when we went there, and it was sort of around the same time of the year as well. But we'll go there. He's got a couple of choices. Beto and Dom. I mean, Beto scored the goal. He's got the share. What would you do with that?
I rate Dom higher than I rate Beto.
Yeah.
To be honest, I just think he's a more complete footballer. I think there's small elements of Beto's game that really aren't anywhere close to Premier League standard. That being said, he scored last week, and that's something Dom hasn't managed for a number of weeks. And while I don't massively rate Beto, and I think, while he can have success, sometimes he hurts us as well with his lack of finesse. I don't think this team can afford to take a goal-scoring striker out the team. I really don't. And yeah, he's not perfect, yeah, he's clumsy, but if he can get a second goal in as many games, we've actually got a striker building a little bit of momentum as well, and that's something we've not had all season, really, unless you go back to, I think, that period Dom scored in a couple back-to-back very early in the season, counting the cup game as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't think we can afford to look past Beto as well, if it's an hour.
Yeah.
And he's not having the success, you bring him off, definitely, but yeah, the confident striker is something we haven't had for a very long time as well, so I don't think we can afford to really change that at the moment. I think Dyche prefers Dom as well. Yeah. I think he prefers his hold-up play. He's, a bit more consistent in the air, winning his headers, and more likely to get something from one of his flick-ons, but I think Dyche will see the importance of a striker who scored in his last game, and you need to try and capitalise that and going, oh, hey, come on, let's get another. Let's get another after that. Let's actually build some goal-scorer momentum here. Yeah,
it's the way we play. It'll be the way we play as well. Like you just mentioned there, if you want a centre forward to hold the ball, if you're going to go long, then you play Dom. If you're going to play a little bit more expansive, like I think what we tried to do last week, I think you can have Beto in the side. I think, I don't know if the manager would look stupid, but to bring Beto in, who scores a goal, and then take him out straight away, it might send the wrong message, maybe. I don't know. I mean, listen, it is...
Especially if Dom doesn't score.
Yeah, it is prerogative, of course. It's just that when you're doing well, I think you're allowed that freedom, but when you're not doing well, and, people can quickly look at the situation. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're not all idiots, by the way. We know, I think most people know Dom is a better technical player than Beto. I think most people can agree on that. But Dom is in a horrid run, and Beto just has that chaos that can maybe, and it's so unformulaic with Dom. I think you know what you're getting with Dom, because it's something that used to be, this is something in the 90s that used to happen, is when Duncan Ferguson played, players just angled. David Unsworth was the worst for it. He used to just angle diagonals to him all day because he knew he'd win it, but it ruined the way we wanted to play. And then he'd go out the side and people go, we're a better team. We're a better team without him, because you can't just whack balls down the pitch. And I think it'd be the same. I think it's almost the same with Dom and Beto, is that people see Dom and straight away, oh, let's just angle one, let's just play an out ball.
Just smash it at Dom.
Whereas on Saturday, it was just, you could see they were like, we're going to have to play a little bit of football because he's not an out ball. The ball will just come back. And I feel sorry for Dom in that thing, because Dom will be sitting there going, I can do what he can do. I can run into the channels. Okay,
You just don't let me.
Yeah, you don't let me. Okay, maybe Dom doesn't have the same movements or same running action that can, but he can do that. But people just want to hit him with diagonals. They just see him as a magnet for the ball, and we'll see. I mean, sometimes in theory you go, oh, Beto's so unpredictable, but I've watched them in games, and he came on at Brighton, and for the first 5 minutes, yeah. After that, didn't do anything, and the ball did just start coming back all the time. And that's the worry, is that if you keep him in the game and he is doing something, yeah, but if you can't get the ball to him in the first place because you haven't got an out ball, and because Man United are pressing as high and they're taking the ball off as high, then if you can't ever get the ball to him, then what's the point? And I think that's the thing that the manager has to wrestle with for this game.
Yeah, definitely. I also think, though, if you look at it, I'll go back to that Fulham game again, because I think that was the last game they lost before the City one.
Yeah.
I'm not going to look at the City one because we can't do anything they can do, but look at Fulham, two similar teams. We'd be very close to them in the table without the points taken off. One thing that worked brilliant for them was that drive through the middle. They kept finding so much space in the middle just to carry the ball up the pitch. That's why Iwobi had so much success and eventually scored. They were just finding room to pick the ball up in the middle of the park and run. I think Beto's more likely to A, make that run himself with the ball, but B, make those runs off the ball to free up space for maybe someone like Onana or Decore to pick the ball up and carry it forward. Going back to what you said about Dom and his hold-up play, I think if he starts, and this isn't Dom's fault, it's the fault of how Dom's used, we try and sit back a bit more and we try and launch the ball upwards at Dom and get it to drop for us and try and force a set piece like we always do. I think it opens us up a little bit more to do a little bit more if we have Beto on simply with the tactical makeup of the game. I think Dom can do those things that Beto will likely do, but he just doesn't seem to be given the license to do it.
That'll be interesting. I'm just looking at some of the stats here for that Fulham game against Manchester United. Obviously, Manchester United lost the game. Fulham had a lesser XG, 1.2, but obviously won the game 2-1. Ball possession 43%, 17 shots compared to Man United's 21, 5 on target compared to Manchester United's 9, 9 corners to Man United's 10. But the simple fact is that they went for it. You know, they went for it. They picked their moments. They picked and for the attack momentum for a lot of the game. Fulham were on top. It was only the latter stages of the game when Man United needed to get an equaliser that they start really pushing, and then they scored, and then Fulham went down the other end and scored. So it could be that first goal again for Everton could be massively important. You'd like to be really confident, sit here and say, "Oh, if we get the first goal," but we showed last week that doesn't always work like that. But what Everton can't do is go behind, because I think there's a general feeling, sadly, that when we go behind, I think this time last year we were proving almost the opposite, weren't we? That we could turn around. We were going behind and we were coming back, and the likes of Chelsea away, we were getting something. But I don't feel like that's there this year. So, don't get me wrong, away we've been well better, but just of late, you just feel it. And if we haven't won a game, have we, from being 1-0 down this season? So that's where it's going to be obviously very tough.
Yeah, the finishing's just not good enough, is it? And I also think this is a team where you can clearly see the wind gets taken out of the sails as well. When you come up against that, I think they'll be aware of that stat, or the general idea that we don't win games from behind, and that then weighs on the minds when we go a goal behind as well. So it's something that, we are going to have to do at some point this season. I don't think you can survive a full Premier League year without ever winning a game from behind over the course of the season. But in the meantime, I've just got to hope it's a situation we don't have to face. And, we can just avoid going goals behind as well. Because this team's biggest strength is its defence as well. Let's not forget. We've got a decent defensive unit and a good goalkeeper. We've got one of the better defences in the league statistically. So, hopefully we don't concede too many chances. It just has to become a point of not sitting back too much, because if you look at the teams who are having success against Man United this season, they're not sitting back all that much. Fulham then, they had similar amount of shots to Man United. More? Did they have Fulham shots on target?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So, you do have to get on the front foot a little bit as well. Obviously, there's a quality gap there that needs to be acknowledged, but it's not just about shrinking away and backing off and letting them dominate the game, because they have better players.
But also, Man United aren't. They aren't full of absolute amazing talent at the moment. They've got players injured. Højlund's injured, and Rashford looks like he could be injured, and it's if Everton can not make stupid mistakes and can make sure they deal with what they're supposed to deal with, then they've got an opportunity. I think it's about being brave to take on moments in the game, and I think that's what's always been missing when we've gone to Old Trafford in the last 30 years, is the braveness to go on. I think with that Martinez team that won, that was a brave team, and we did win games because of that. And I think we went to the Emirates 4 days later and got a late draw there, didn't we, with Gerard Delafay? There was a braveness to that team, but we always go there and we always just wish for the best and almost be like, we know we're going to lose this game, but that's not where we are at the moment. That's not where Man United are at the moment. So
no, what I will say though is this United team's not great at all. But when I look at that team, I don't think they're all necessarily bad footballers. I think they're footballers with bad mentalities, a lot of them. And over 90 minutes, that'll definitely show. But in moments, that quality can show. And there are players in that team that are capable of moments. Marcus Rashford had a terrible game against Man City, I think we can say, but he scored a brilliant goal. Garnacho against us a few weeks ago scored one of the best goals I've ever seen. Bruno Fernandes can hit them as well. Martial might be fit. So they are a team that are capable of moments as well, and I think if we do sit back for long enough, we will give them a chance to do something of that.
We played well against them again at Goodison. We were just 1-0 down. There was so much on that day because it was the game after we had the point deduction, and it was a big mental test, and it just got too much for all of us that day, and there's no there's no reason why we can't go there and be brave, and then you see what happens. But if you sit back and wait for things to happen, they'll happen to you rather than for you. So it's going to be an interesting. Let's just have a little look at some of the comments. Gary Waters Hardy, Chris Davies. This is an interesting one. Afternoon, lads. Big Nev once said having a brand new state-of-the-art stadium will be like having the best fish tank in the world but putting dead fish in. Team first, stadium second. I agree. It's not Goodison that's made us perform so woefully. Had those fans depressed and lose key players over the years. That's all down to ownership, management, recruitment and tactics. These major issues will still exist at Bramley Moor. I take your point, and I've interviewed Nev. I've interviewed him when he said that to me. He said, don't spend 500 million on a ground, spend it on a stadium, spend it on a team. Sadly, you can't do it. You can't spend 500 million pound on a team. And then we number one, we've done it. We've spent a lot of money. But number two, you just can't do it. There's no look at the news come out yesterday about Aston Villa about FFP. Look at Newcastle not being able to spend. Look at Arsenal not being able to spend. You can't do it. Though the issues will still be there, but you just can't. You can't cut your cloth in that way anymore. It just you've got to have something, an asset that brings money in, and a stadium will bring money in long term. Goodison Park is not fit for purpose. It has not been fit for purpose for 25 years. People might not like to hear that, but it's just a fact. It's a drain on us. It's an anchor that has been pulling us in only one direction. And yes, a new stadium is costly, and it's been pulling resources away from the first team, and there will be debt attached to it. But it's there, and it's our home for as long as all of us who are watching this will live. It'll be all of us our home,
unless sea levels rise. No,
we'll
but
jack it up.
He's not wrong in principle.
No, in principle, he's not
I'd
wrong.
rather watch a brilliant team play in a garden shed than watch a terrible team play in a brilliant stadium. But it's the way football finances have gone, isn't it? And, you know, the idea about spending 500 million on a stadium is that will then go on to finance multiple generations of 500 million teams through the money it brings into the club, isn't it? And it's complicated. And
Well,
it's
ask yourself the
difficult,
question. Ask yourself, why have Real Madrid just done their stadium? Why are Barcelona doing their stadium? Why have Liverpool done their stadium? Why are Manchester United doing their stadium? Why are Man City doing their stadium? Why did Tottenham do their stadium? For that one reason. It's not because it's like a thing of getting extra fans in. It's money. It's as simple as that. To compete at any level, the only way now, well, not the only way, sorry, but a major way of bringing money into a club. And it's not just bringing money into the club, by the way. It's stopping money going out the door. Goodison Park just isn't fit for purpose. And yes, Goodison Park could be around for 10, 20, even 30 years. But for those years, what you'd be doing is just like knocking wood into holes and fixing roofs. And
screw fix.
Yeah, exactly. Putting a bit of sealant down. What you're not doing is creating a situation where you go, we're giving fans the best experience they can have. Because I'll tell you what'll happen is, this is what happened. You spend 500 million on players rather than a grand, and it'll get you to there, and all those players will just go away, and you'll be left with nothing. You have to have some kind of bedrock now because of these stupid rules. But you need it anyway, don't you? Everton need a new ground. It's as simple as that. They've needed one they've needed a new ground since the early 2000s. That's just fact. They've been trying to get one since the early 2000s. If they'd got one in the early 2000s, we've mentioned it before, with the Premier League. What's the first thing? I mean, you're not old enough, but the first thing Manchester United did when the Premier League started was they started renovating Old Trafford. Literally the second they were like, we know what the future is, and they just started going bang, 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 new stand, new stand, new stand.
Corporate.
And the mad thing is, because they did it so early, that's why Old Trafford is now not fit for purpose. The mad thing is, if we'd built a stadium in 2000, that stadium might be looking old-fashioned now. Yeah. You know what? Steve Kelly went to Valencia over the weekend to watch Real Madrid, and he saw that the stadium that has been sitting there for 15 years, they started to build it, they run out of money. There's talk, because of the World Cup, they might start that project again, but they're going to have to knock the concrete down because that design isn't
been moved on from.
We've all moved on. When we went to America 2 summers ago, we were in Baltimore, and they were like, this stadium's 25 years old, but looking at knocking it down and getting a new one. We were like, what? They were like, it's done. It's too old. Everything's moved on. So, in theory, Chris, I understand what you're saying, but it's just not reality anymore. It really isn't, sadly.
No, if football was as simple as we all liked it to be, then yeah, absolutely. But unfortunately, there's just things in place that require a bit more business attention, isn't there?
Yeah, of course. Tottenham Hotspur now are the highest grossing club in London. So you've got Chelsea, you've got Arsenal sitting there, but Tottenham with their new stated... Charlton. I've been to Charlton, played poker in Charlton Stadium.
Did you win?
No.
Why are you telling the story then?
Because it's cool. It's a cool story.
No, but it does show, doesn't it, the importance. Chelsea and Arsenal are bigger clubs than Tottenham.
Yeah.
And we look at, all the relevant factors, trophies won, fan base, etc. But Tottenham having that stadium, and they do everything with that. They've got a go-kart track underneath it. That it's being rented out for concerts and big events. The
NFL's what's about it, isn't it?
The NFL's a massive part of it.
One of the cleverest decisions anyone's ever made was saying, we're going to have a stadium, which is basically an NFL stadium and a football stadium. It's not an NFL stadium, a football stadium that becomes an NFL stadium. It is an NFL stadium. It's got a separate NFL pitch, and it's got separate NFL dressing rooms. And all the branding, and I know this because the people at Everton told me this when I went down to look at the stuff for the inside of the stadium. They said one of the selling points for our stadium is that everything stays the same. So all these bars and restaurants that are open inside, they never change. But Tottenham's ground, when it's an NFL game, everything changes over. So if you've got a bar like I don't know, the Gaza bar. I don't think there's a Gaza bar that'd be inappropriate. But it would suddenly become, if there's a concert on, it'd be called the Beyonce bar. Or if the NFL are playing, it'll become
the 49ers
yeah,
bar,
exactly.
Or...
Everything's video screens. Where Everton, it's like our history remains within the stadium. So even if we have a concert, it's not going to suddenly become, the Taylor Swift bar. We'd all wish that to happen, wouldn't we? But it would still be. So if people go there,
Swifty Lounge.
The Swifty Lounge. That sounds amazing, doesn't it? That sounds like a winning bar to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get the principle. I fully understand it, but I think that's just thinking from just a different time, sadly. You've got to be able to keep up with these people. And all we can hope is that this is just a real short-term problem. And if the right people get into our football club, the first thing they'll do is, because there's a lot of talk at the moment about debt. We're in this much debt and we're in that much debt. But if we can refinance that debt, and we've got this big stadium, which is looking magnificent, and all the, it's getting closer all the time, and if you can refinance or based on a stadium that's going to be there for, as I said, it'll outlive all of us. Does that make you feel weird? That stadium's going to outlive you?
Yeah, but I've got like one of the bricks. You can have your name put on, and that's it.
Do you ever watch videos about space, and then they say the sun's going to die, and go, that's a bit of a bummer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thinking you're still going to be around in 4 billion years.
No, I remember when I first heard that as like a kid, and I was like, right, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And like, my mum was like, Jackie will be dead by then.
Yeah. Brings home
what about like me great grandkids and that?
They'll have turned into like unicorns by then.
Yeah, I mean, they'll all have like Elon Musk brain chips.
It does shine a light on your own mortality, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's a scary thing, mortality, especially when
you're young, it's even scary.
Yeah, especially when you've spent like such a long percentage of your life waiting for Merseyrail trains that aren't coming.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah,
it really makes you.
You got a taste today on Sandhills platform what it'll be like to go to get the train home from a match.
Oh no, I've got the train home from a match before as well.
But
this was somehow even less bearable.
Okay. Fair
it
play.
Depends on the result on the match day.
Yeah. People are gonna.
Normally on a match day there aren't children singing as well. There was today, so
fair play.
Like the fake happiness really just took it to me today. But to be fair as well, if I normally forget the train to get out from Kirkdale, and I think the platform's a bit wider there at Sandhills, everyone's all just punched into this.
What's going to happen though, sadly, well, not sadly, but the way they're going to have to do it is they're only going to allow so many people on the platform at once, so that queue will go all the way down the road.
Yeah, that's going to be very frustrating, isn't it?
Apparently they're opening a new exit, so there's going to be like an exit so people can come in one way and go out another. What I would do is I would just walk to Moorfields, because Moorfields is 15 minutes away. Sandhills is 10 minutes away. Moorfields is 15 minutes away. I'd just walk to Moorfields and get on the train there.
Yeah.
I think that makes more sense.
What if we just build a new train station?
You can't though. Do you know how expensive train stations are? Honestly, they cost millions of pounds.
Yeah, money's all made up though, isn't it?
It is, but it's not made up by us.
No, I know, but
there's a mayor at the moment who's having to who's just said...
Our mayor's a woman.
No, he's not. We only got one mayor. There's only one mayor now.
No, there's Joe Anderson.
No, Joe Anderson's gone.
Oh.
There's only one mayor now in this city, the Metro mayor. The other mayor, that's gone, that's been dissolved.
When did she go?
She went last year. So we have a head of the council now. We don't have a second mayor. So we have a Metro mayor, which is Steve Rotherham. And we have because it was getting complicated, wasn't it? But we have it. So it's up to him now. I know he's just said they're going to do 3 new stations, but not one of them is ours, because basically there's no point. Sandhills is too. If we had another station, it would mean it'd make it about 5 minutes. And the way that because it's elevated, there's no way of having one at the moment. So I'm telling everyone right now in the stadium, walk to Moorfields. You don't. It's not so.
No, don't tell them our secrets. That's what we're walk to Sandhills.
I go in a car, mate. I'm fine.
I don't walk to Sandhills.
By then you might. By then you might be in the press lounge. You might be a high flying media man.
Can ask Sean Dyche about it.
But what I will say is though, at that point, when you are a high flying media man, you're not allowed to have that haircut.
I know it's a bit of a state today. I do appreciate that, but it's been a tough morning.
So yeah, more to come. But well, when we get a little bit closer to the stadium, there'll be videos about
the train
the train stations and stuff. We'll sort all that out. We'll
leave it with us.
You'll know how to get in and out of the stadium. But we'll let you know. But I'd say it was a good question in the first place. Daniel says, personally think it'd be nice if the 7-7 takeover happens today on my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Were you just trying to get in? That's your birthday.
You could have just said, and we still would have said happy birthday.
Now I feel dirty. Yeah. Because that's how you framed it.
I feel bought and paid for.
Dan says, think Dyche got a not spiky there. Got a bit spiky there, didn't he? Obviously, no way he's entertaining bringing in an attacking coach. Who asked him about the attacking coach?
It was a.
So we had to turn the sound down because Sky are in the other room doing interviews with the Red Men about the game, and we had to turn it down. And I didn't hear that question. So who asked it?
No, I didn't hear it. Because there was
because we were waiting for. We thought someone else was going to ask the question. So maybe they didn't ask the question because it'd already been asked.
What did the young lad ask him that he reacted a bit to? Oh, it was the Everton don't know how to win comments, weren't it? Yeah. But it wouldn't have been him as well.
No. Someone in the comments let me know who asked that question. Ned, go through the press conference and find out who asked him the question because that's a good little clip, that. No, it's on YouTube on Everton's site. You big person of... Well, not big person. No, I mean, I don't know.
You still saved it, well.
CC23 says time is an illusion, lads. It's not an illusion, but it isn't fact. And I know it's not fact, and I'll tell you why I know it's not fact. Because when we played Brighton, the game went really, really fast, and when they got a play sent off, the time just went dead slow. It's relative.
You know what else makes time completely just like made up as well? Like the fact that the clocks go back and forwards. Like if it's this set in stone concrete thing, how can we just change it when we feel like, you know?
I'd be with you, but I disagree. And I'll tell you why I disagree. Because that element of time is yes, man-made in terms of we suddenly decide when we want it to go dark. So, but it still goes dark. See, if I just scrapped, when the clocks go forward, I'd never touch them again.
Would that not mess something up though?
Yeah, the mornings. It'd mess the mornings up.
Nah, but then wouldn't we owe time to ourselves or something? Is there an hour that's never going to be accounted for ever again? No. Well, yeah. Dull fact to impress people with. In Spain, they're not on the right time zone. Are they not?
No,
Why?
because they changed it in the 40s because a certain gentleman with a moustache wanted everyone to be on the same time, right? And they never changed it back. And it's why they get so tired in the afternoons, apparently. Because they're completely on the wrong time. So they have they have siestas and they have in Spain, they eat much later. And apparently it is because this is a convo, a 3 a.m. convo in someone's kitchen.
Yeah.
They're on the wrong time. So if you go to Portugal, they're on the right time, but Spain are on the wrong time. Spain should be on the same time as us.
Well, yeah, if Portugal are.
So they're on the wrong time zone, and it messes up everyone's body clock.
So you know when, and understand this is probably a stupid question, but you know when our clocks go forward, does that happen all around the world as well?
Daylight savings times.
But I think there's a country somewhere where it doesn't. It might be an African country.
Might be.
So their time difference to us fluctuates at that time.
So America does, but there's a week, and I used to love this week because when I used to do a podcast with Derek when we used to do the Follow-Tonians, there'd be a week where the time gap was less because their time going forward was a week after ours. So instead of being a 6-hour gap, it suddenly became a 5. It meant I got more sleep essentially.
I also think as well though with time zones, you know, if you live in the area of America where there's a 5-hour gap to England.
Yeah. But you live... That's called the East Coast.
Yeah. But say you live really close to where it becomes a 6-hour difference.
Yeah.
really you're on the wrong time, aren't you? Because really your time difference is like 57 hours. So but imagine if the fella across the street is on the new time, so he finishes work an hour before you, but for him it's 5 o'clock.
Have you ever you haven't been to America, have you?
I have.
Oh, you have, yeah. But you probably weren't awake. So when you fly home from America, you're always like chasing. You're always chasing the sun because it's like, it's weird. It's a weird thing because it's just like you can see it, but it's weird. And I think we should start talking about time because there's a lot of footy stuff going on.
Yeah. So.
But the clocks go forward at the end of this month anyway. So it's like from now to then we'll have 2 hours extra basically. Oh, can't wait. Just makes everything better. Tony said the lad Will Rooney always the last of press conference, but Arguably still asked the best questions. Fair play to the lad. Yeah, I always say that he's good lad. The question he asked before was good. Simon Taylor says happy birthday to Jordan Pickford, and also my daughters Lauren and Rebecca. Your daughters have the same birthday. That's interesting.
Well, they're probably twins.
Yeah, but they probably are. But that's why I said it was interesting.
People have twins all the time.
No, but
no disrespect. Happy birthday.
But he didn't say twins. And normally people like saying twins, don't they?
Maybe this was I don't have kids, but if I was gonna say I had like twin daughters, I'd still say my daughters.
Yeah.
If I said my twins, people would assume I had.
Yeah. Where'd you stand on dressing twins the same?
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it.
How do you tell them apart?
Exactly.
I know there'll be
Isn't it hard enough anyway?
Like, oh no, I know you don't. We all know you're lying. We all know, like, you write the initial on the back.
You're basically saying these are the same people.
Yeah.
I find that weird.
I feel like you wouldn't do it if they had an age gap, you know what I mean? If one was like 2 years older than the other.
That's not how twins work.
No, that's what I'm like. I don't mean.
That would be really worrying. That'd be really worrying.
That's a long labour.
I can't shed this weight. What's going on?
Still feel kicking.
Go on.
No, you know what I mean? You know, if they're not twins, they're just siblings, you wouldn't dress them the same.
Yeah. There you go. But, you know, that's fair enough.
I mean, I don't have kids, so you do what you want, really, but...
Danny Ellis says, the more I hear about Charlie Chaplin, the less I like him.
What's he done?
The moustache. The moustache. I like what you've done there, Danny.
I thought he was just like, you know, when people like reference something they've learned about, but like no one else knows, but they act like it's common knowledge.
The idea about that is Chaplin did do that video, which you have never seen, which is basically taking the piss out of the man with the moustache. You ever seen the film Chaplin?
No.
That's not a shock.
Robert Downey Jr.
But you should. It's amazing. It's an amazing film. I mean, again, you're too young to even appreciate Chaplin.
He was one of like the first like massive actors, though, wasn't he? And like actor and director, and did a bit of this, bit of that.
Did a lot of acting.
He was in Peaky Blinders for about 10 seconds.
Was he in Peaky Blinders?
Season. Yeah, technically.
No, I'm not having that.
In the second season,
Okay.
and they claim he's half traveller as well, which I don't know if that's fact.
No, I don't know if it's fact. But in the film, his mum gets put in an asylum. Because he is from London, obviously. You are aware of that, aren't you?
Yeah, English. No, I was just wondering what that had to do with being a traveller.
No, I'm saying you don't know his background. So I don't know what he was. There you go. Who asked him?
I don't know what his name is.
So what was it early on?
Yeah.
So that's why it wasn't asked. We'll find that quote. Yeah. That'll be a good quote. Brian says DCL will have scored that goal Beto did if he'd been playing. DCL had been receiving those crosses when playing. It's a good point, but he did have a few chances recently and he has missed them. I like Dom. I'll always stand up for Dom.
I think Dom would have scored that penalty. He's missed chances like that in recent weeks. So Beto as well. But
Professor Poopy Pants says, remember when we had the left back up Brian Oviedo? I still want to know what he's a professor of.
Poopy Pants.
That sounds like what Ned got a degree in.
I think it's what
I was going to say. Oh no. Josh says, afternoon lads, watch the Premier League rewind of the 4-4 against United in 2012. What a side we had at that point compared with now. Fellaini, Pienaar, I miss those plays so much. I know, mate. I know. I miss all. I I miss good times. Gary Ward says the Nissan Stadium in Nashville is just over 20 years old and the Titans are building a new stadium. There you go. Clive's of loving the Seamus Shamrock top already ordered. Have you seen that?
Yeah, it's really nice, isn't it? I like the detail on it as well. You know, where it's got like 23 written into.
It's nice. I think we may have already got one for the studio. Benjamin James says last night finished watching the Tuesday Topic, following on from what Baz left. I would say goat as your owner. Oh, it's just about me. Some more places to go. Great little city with great restaurants and things to see. Also, Figueroa's is just up the road, which was Salvador Dali's museum. Also, for a bit more historical information, Figueroa's was a place when an escapee from the Great Escape went to see out the war. Oh, nice. I'm going to I said I was bored. I wanted to go somewhere. I'm going to Inverness in a couple of weeks.
To watch football?
No, I'm taking the dog. They won't let me in with the dog. And also they're away that day. No, just wanted to go somewhere.
Fair play.
Darren says Harrison and McNeil are more Laurel and Hardy
Dan what?
than Charlie Chaplin. Jesus. Seen the film about Laurel and Hardy?
No.
Only came out like 3 years ago. It's a modern film.
What's it called?
Big Laurel and Big Hardy. It's Dingo, Steve Coogan and John. What's his second name?
Cena?
No. But that would have been interesting. John Dingo, who was in Step Brothers with Will Ferrell. Oh, what's his name? You know what I mean, don't you?
I know who you mean, but I don't know the name.
Yeah, John Dingo. Boss actor. He's in like comedic films and also in serious films. And I can't remember his name.
Not John Travolta?
No. You know what I mean, don't you? Step Brothers.
Yeah, I've seen Step Brothers, yeah. Not Will Ferrell, the other one.
Yeah, John Dingo. Someone, John C. Reilly, that's it. Seen Kong Island?
No.
How have you not seen Kong Island? It's not that old. It's like 4 years old and it's really good.
Just don't really watch films.
You need to change your life.
I know.
You need to,
This week's taught me a lot. I'll come in a new man next week.
Stop getting on trains and watch films instead.
And I wouldn't be in. Imagine if it was like Jack Where I was like, oh, I'm watching Kong Island.
Kong Island.
Sure, that'd go down well.
Kong Island's boss. Watch it on the train, on the platform. Takes you that long to get here. John Hunter says, I was born an only twin. See, I think he's trying to make a joke, but people do get born an only twin, and it's sad.
Yeah, I thought that, which is why I didn't want to.
No, that's I don't mean like but I don't mean like obviously. But there's a thing, isn't there, where twins eat the other twin in the womb or something? Yeah, that's weird. I don't really want to go into that because that's just weird.
Because we also don't know if that's exactly what you mean, or if it was just a joke to the stupid thing I said. So we'll just move on.
You're a terrible person. Abigail says, I know people who have sons who were born on the same date 3 years apart. But they're not twins, Abigail.
I mean, they sort of are. The brothers who have the same birthday.
Yeah. It's an expensive month, isn't it, for the parents?
Yeah, it's a rough. I hope it's not in December. That'd just be like... not ideal.
Manic Wolf says DCL had 2 of those Betel-type headers against Palace and missed them both, so I wouldn't be too sure these days. Fair play.
Yeah, they've both missed chances like that this year, haven't they?
No, they have. Doms were a little bit more sort of straight coming onto him rather than being able to see a ball all the way. I think if you can see a ball like that, it makes it so much easier. But Beto scored, took his chance, scored his goal. There you go.
Dom's been unlucky as well in terms of having goals taken off him as well. I think he should be on.
He should. I see when people go, well, it's not his goal, but it was his goal, wasn't he? He scored. He scored the goal. Like Jack Harrison doesn't know anything about that. Jack Harrison should have said it didn't hit me. I think.
I mean, it still would have got given to Harrison because to check on the replay, wouldn't he?
He said it didn't hit me. You should have said, no, you've seen it wrong, mate. It looks like it hit me, but it didn't.
Yeah, it's one of them. I understand the goal has to go to Harrison, but it's not really.
But my argument is, Jack,
is it?
my argument is, if that had hit a defender, it's not an own goal, is it?
That's what I don't like about that.
That's what I don't understand. I know it's all to do with like betting and stuff and stats and fantasy football and all that nonsense. But people go on about he hasn't scored. I mean, I know technically he hasn't scored, but he did score. He scored in that game. John Hunter says it's a Peter Cook joke. Who's Peter Cook? Exactly. Like he's going to get
Sounds like a League Two manager.
Like he's going to get a Peter Cook joke.
Shrewsbury Town manager.
No, he was a very funny man. He used to. Do you know? Have you ever heard of Dudley Moore?
Bramley Moore?
No. They just don't get it. Dudley Moore was and Peter Cook were a very famous double act from the 60s and the 70s. But Dudley Moore went to Hollywood and made like films. He made like Arthur and Arthur 2. He was in Santa Claus the movie. He made
Who did he play?
In
Santa Claus?
No,
I'm thinking of the Santa Claus.
He played Head Elf. And Peter Cook sort of stayed in England and
stayed at his boyhood club.
Stayed with his boyhood club. But anyway. But yeah. Very funny people. Very ahead of the time. Used to do a lot of musical stuff.
And what was the...
I don't know what the joke was, because I'm not...
the twin one?
Yeah, it was the twin one, yeah. Dan says, I remember David Weir scoring by accident against Man City. I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin needs something similar. That's it. I said this week ago. I said it when he actually scored, when that went in. I was like, he needs to be the person. He needs to be Harrison in that situation. He needs something to just bounce off him and go in.
Just needs one to bounce off his arse, doesn't he? And just find the back of the net, and then at least the monkey's off his back then, you know what I mean?
RC says I got pooed on by a seagull. Tell Ned to get his boxing gloves on.
You've been Ashley Young's.
Yeah, there you go. It's interesting.
Why is Ned going to get his boxing gloves on?
Because he's having a fight with a seagull, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there you go.
What's the pay split? Surely Seagull's getting the majority.
Ned's getting one piece of bread and the seagull's getting all the rest.
The rest
Daniel says, would be interesting to see how DCL would have gone on if the goal against Spurs was given. And Bainey says, nice to see Everton commemorating Seamus ordered the shirt. On another note, did I read right that Mishiri failed to sign a document for the 200 million naming rights for the stadium, causing it to not be allowed as mitigating circumstances in FFP? Yeah, I read that as well. I'm not a legal expert, so I can't sit here and say that's 100% the thing. But
it speaks to what we already know about the management of this club, though, doesn't it?
But he also mightn't have signed it because it mightn't have been a real thing.
Well, that's the thing with the Ukraine situation as well, didn't he? They said, we had extra funding coming in, and they said, okay, let's see some proof of this funding, and they couldn't provide it.
Yeah. John, let me just hit you with some knowledge. Young people don't know anything. They don't know anything.
Why? What's John said?
He said, how old are you? And he was basically putting down about why, who Peter Cook was. Young people don't know anything.
I'm 22, by the way.
And it's not their fault, but they should. What annoys me about Jack is I give him suggestions and he doesn't take them up. That's what annoys me. Ned's the same. Ned's the same. You say, go and watch this, and they go, no, I'm going to watch the thing I've already watched 17 times again. Right? The difference between this age group and like people like me is mad, because we didn't have everything at our fingertips. So we watched what was on telly or what was the film. So we ended up watching everything and being educated. So you got what you were given and you watched it. I've said this loads of times, you can do whatever you want. And what it makes is it gives you the algorithm makes you be absolutely narrow.
No, you're right about that.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault, the algorithm.
also I'll say is sometimes they're less so like suggestions and more so like demands.
Yeah, they
But,
are demands because I know what's good for you, sunshine.
But you know, it's not the same as in your day. You know,
Yeah.
you'd meet Baz like round the back of the bins in school,
Yeah.
and you'd slide on the VHS
I mean-
of like the black and white film. And
Baz,
that, and then
can I just clear something more? Baz would have left school before I started senior school.
you're both older than me.
Well, of
so-
course, we're both older than you. That's literally how things work.
Time fades up.
One day you'll be older than other people as well.
Well, technically, I already am. Just
But
no one in this room.
your generation is ruled by algorithms. So you stay in your lane.
All right, Terminator.
No, you are though. You don't. You watch what you like or what you're told you
No,
will.
you
No,
are-
it's
you
not. It's
are
not your
right.
fault. It's not. Listen,
I'm agreeing.
I'd say I'm going to go all Goodwill Hunting, but I know you haven't seen Goodwill Hunting, so there's no point. This is what annoys me is I have references from films and you don't get the references, and that's what annoys me. So you haven't even seen Goodwill Hunting, one of the best films of the last 25 years, and you haven't seen it, and it annoys me.
I feel like I might have seen a bit of it. What's it about?
It's about goodwill, and he goes hunting with his friends.
It's not helping. I know.
So none of my references make sense because you don't know any of the and that's the problem. It's not your fault.
I need to see a trailer for something to want to watch it.
The algorithm is it's destroying lives. I think.
I mean,
Yeah, there you go. James says Ped's mum and dad checked notes, ran a video shop, but Jack should have watched a ton of more films. Yeah, both things are true. Both things are true. I used
he's
my
being
but I
sarcastic.
used my youth wisely.
so did I. I just didn't have a shed full of VHSs.
I didn't have a shed for you. I used to go to Blockbuster most of the time. You wouldn't even know what a Blockbuster is.
Then you're just silly, aren't you? Because you had it all at your disposal, but you went to pay for it.
That was later on in life. That's later on. It's not. By the way, it's
Could've
not.
just
It's
walked
not
behind
your
the
fault.
counter and got
It's not
like,
your fault.
Power Rangers
Listen,
movie.
it's not. Power Rangers film didn't come out till ages after. It's fine. It's not your fault. It's just that your generation are being told what to watch, and I feel I'm disappointed for you.
You know what? I've tried to watch telly the last few nights,
Yeah.
but the Wi-Fi is completely gone in my room.
See,
So-
that's worse. That you need Wi-Fi to watch telly.
Well, no, just in my room, like stream something and that. So maybe I would have watched Goodwill Hunting last night, but there's just no signal in my room at the moment. So
And you got.
blame.
And you got. Okay, no,
This was in like the middle of the night.
it's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's
It's
fine.
fine.
You ever watched Jaws?
I watched a bit of it in school.
Yeah.
We used to have like a film club in school and that, and didn't like it. It's like, oh, there's a shark.
It's an amazing film.
Oh, the shark might eat them.
There's no point. I could sit here all day and name films, but I can't that you haven't seen and what Ned hasn't seen. The worry is that you sit and watch the same things all the time. That's the worry. You need to break out of your algorithm, man. You're stuck in your algorithm. What was the last film you watched? Quickly.
Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, but I hadn't seen that before, so I am branching out.
Hang on. Have you seen the ones before?
Yeah,
Have you? But you haven't seen the ones after, obviously, no.
I may have.
Oh my god.
No, because that was more just watching them when he happened to be on and that. And I was like, oh,
How
they
can
look
you
good,
watch?
these.
Oh, how can you watch a series of films if you haven't?
I ask questions. I go, who's
No.
that?
No, that's
What's he doing?
No, that's annoying.
Who's that?
Right, we're going over to More Than a Game. We'll be on there in about 5 minutes. Please come over for more great me getting annoyed about Jack not watching films.
We'll try and actually talk about football.
We did
on
talk
this
about football
one as
for
well.
ages.
Yeah.
We just moved into. You're the one who brought Time and Twins into it.
I didn't bring
You ever seen the
Twins
film
into it
Twins?
at all. I don't
Arnold
think so.
Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito.
No.
Never seen it.
No.
You know who Arnold Schwarzenegger is?
Yeah.
Do you know who Danny DeVito
Yeah.
is? Do you understand the comical concept of those two being twins?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I get it, so I don't have to watch it. No.
What was the one where Arnold Schwarzenegger had a baby?
Junior.
Yeah, that was it.
It was terrible. It was terrible. Get me the baby. Right. See you over on More Than a Game in a minute. Bye.